Indivisible with liberty and justice for all.
Do you want to do this now? Student reports?
Yeah, she's going to be down in public comment.
Oh, okay.
Student reports, there'll be somebody coming.
Okay. Okay, we'll begin with student reports. Ms. Velasquez?
First off, Nazanin apologizes for not being here. She had an allergic reaction and couldn't make it. She, this past month has been pretty exciting for Fitchburg High School. The National Ocean Science Team advanced to the Blue Lobster at MIT on Saturday. It was a great achievement for the team, and it showed how teachers and them could work together and excel at such an amazing topic. As well as that, we have class games going on currently. Last week was class basketball games, which sophomores beat the freshmen, and then the juniors beat the seniors, which was pretty exciting since I'm a junior. Class badminton games also went on. Those were in teams, so individual teams got to play. Next up would be class dodgeball games tomorrow, pillow polo games March 10th, and capture the flag March 15th, followed directly by Mr. FHS, which is pretty exciting. Last Saturday were the Science AP Saturday sessions, which, as I explained with the Math AP sessions, is a great opportunity for students to get extra help and enhance their understanding on their topic. The Science AP Saturday sessions were for biology, chemistry, environmental science, and physics, and I went for the chemistry one, and it really did help me. The Winter Ball also took place February 28th, and it was outstanding. The classes who worked on it together did an amazing job, and I believe that everyone did have a good time. It was really fun. As well as that, we had our school-wide writing prompt recently, and the prompt was on attendance, which has been an issue at our school, but it's actually getting better since all of the grades were above 80% this past week, which is great and a great improvement. And finally, students are beginning to register for the ACTs and the SATs, the juniors and seniors. Well, the juniors already took it, they'll be held at FHS soon. And that's it.
Yes.
Mayor, I want to comment on the ocean science competition. I placed something on Facebook, but just for people at home to know, 3 years ago, Doug Grant, the teacher at the high school, came here and said that his students had heard about this ocean science competition at MIT, and if you remember the first year, he said, well, why don't we just go and watch and see how it's done and help run the thing. And then last year, they went and they won the award for the best teamwork. If you remember, it was that kind of blue glass. And this year, they're back, and they are competing toe-to-toe. They actually beat Acton-Boxborough, which is a district that's had a team for over a decade, right? So it's really, that was so exciting when I saw that. It really was such a confirmation that when we offer the opportunities, the resources, and we have the teacher who wants to do it and has that knowledge, ability, and gets the right students, our kids can do anything, and really important for people to know that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
I would just like to ask you to pass this on to people in your building. I was at Fitchburg High this Saturday for a different event, for my daughter's dance event. And, we got there early, and there are tons of kids everywhere, all doing the science AP prep, and I guess there were SATs there. And the custodians were moving everything in and out and getting it all kind of set up, and the place looked beautiful. And I was really struck by a bulletin board that was put together by the teachers and students, where it was like #WhyITeach, and then student comments on that. It was just such a great demonstration of the feeling of that building and the culture in that building. So So I hope you're experiencing that. It seems like a nice place to be. So it looks like that to the outsider too.
Thank you. The report of the school committee chair, there is no report this evening. Policy committee, Resource Committee Chair, Chairman Stevens.
Yep, the Resource Committee met on March 3rd. We had quite a long meeting. We approved our minutes of the January 26th meeting. We also had a request from ESL before us for some technology, tablets for the ESL classes, of which the subcommittee approved, which should be on the agenda tonight. Mr. Jokela went over the strategic facilities use plan, and part of that'll be on the agenda tonight, where the school committee votes a statement of interest, and then it goes to city council. And we also discussed the parking lot at Memorial, where we're going to repave it. We discussed some work to be done at South Street School outside the building. We discussed the Safe Routes to School plan, new sidewalks around the South Street School. We talked about the FY17 upcoming budget, line item transfers, grants, the expense forms through February. Mr. Jokler also informed us that he would be making some other adjustments on the budget. And that's about it. Anything else?
Thank you, Mr. Stevens. Well, there is, Ms. Cragen is not with us this evening, and that's the student support section, but we'll go on to school personnel. Oh, I'm sorry. You were going to do that, Ms. Lavelle-Pierce? Go ahead. Thank you.
So the student support subcommittee met on February 23rd at 3:30 at South Street at the central office. We talked about one parent's concern about the dog sniff program, and worked to figure out how we might follow up on some of those concerns and get any of those concerns to the policy committee before they maybe act on a policy. We talked about follow-up on parent surveys and particularly after-school programs. We're really interested in trying to get a more robust after-school program offered, and we're going to meet tomorrow at 3:30 at central office for our next meeting, and we'll have a presentation by an after-school provider. There was some discussion about curriculum maps and what the maybe plan is to continue to work on those, and that's about it. So we meet tomorrow at 3:30.
Thank you. Is there a report for policy committee? Did I miss that?
I can report.
Can you
Sally
do that?
isn't
Thank
here.
you, Lisa. Okay.
We have the first reading of the security camera policy that will be coming before you tonight, and we're going to waive the first reading and the second reading of the school recycling program and bring it right to vote tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. As far as another meeting, I don't know what's planned. He hasn't planned anything yet.
Okay, thank you. School personnel. I think what I'd like to say is that I want to congratulate all that had anything to do with our union negotiations. We've, without going into further detail, we've made significant progress, and I want to thank all those who participated. Mr. Jokler, certainly the superintendent, the assistant superintendent as well, and the members of that committee. Mr. Stevens was there, and Ms. Walsh, thank you so much for your efforts in this. When you as the public see the results of that, I think you'll all be pleased. And again, we're nearing completion of all 7 unions, right? So I want to again assure the public that there is significant progress being made on that front. So Yes.
One further comment. Mr. Zener and I and Mrs. Walsh met this afternoon with the paras to clean up all the language for the contract, and it looks like what we completed this afternoon, where
Great.
they're going to there for a vote.
And how could I miss Mr. Zena? Where is he? Stop hiding over there. Come on, stand. You should stand and take a bow. Critical, I mean, just critically important to the smooth transition throughout that process. Thank you, Rick. You did a great job. Really appreciate it. Executive Committee, that's me. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say anything regarding that, so we'll move on. Student report, I think we had that. Staff and student presentations. Medical emergency protocols, Longsjo, Principal Shalafo, and I think the head nurse over there, Miss Jackie Lassard. Are you folks will be doing a presentation? Great.
Well, good evening, everyone. I want to thank you for inviting us here tonight. It's my pleasure as principal of Longsjo Middle School to introduce my nurse, Jackie Lassard, who is a 16-year veteran of the school district and a pivotal part of our administrative team at Longsjo. And we've got some information here that we'll share with you concerning some of her efforts over the last several years to not only lead my team in our efforts to be prepared for medical emergencies, but also to hold my feet to the fire, to make sure that we are brainstorming and debriefing many of the instances that are happening currently. And unfortunately, or fortunately, this year we had an opportunity to put this into play. It worked out extremely well, but I heard something that a principal never wants to hear from one of my administrative team members was the student wasn't breathing. Fortunately enough, with Jackie's leadership and her efforts over the last several years, our team worked and functioned extremely well, and everything worked out very well. So I'm very proud of her and her efforts, and we do have a short presentation for you. And with that, I'm going to turn things over to Jackie.
Thank you. I would also like to say 4 years ago when I started on this endeavor in creating a medical response to the school, it was a new concept. It's something that kind of, you can forward the slide, something that kind of came out of two situations. One was when you look at sudden cardiac arrest in the United States, this is a slide from 2012, 386,000 people a year die from sudden cardiac arrest, and that is equivalent to all of those categories on the right-hand side. And that cuts across all age levels. You can forward the slide. So with that information, being a first aid and CPR instructor, as well as Michael's Law, which came into being in 2012 in the state of Massachusetts, Michael Elsevier was a student at Oxford High School, and he died during football practice due to an undiagnosed congenital abnormality in his heart. The reason that Michael died was because the response was prolonged to the football field and there was no AED available. So as a result, his parents have been champions of getting Michael's Law enacted, which required every school district in the state of Massachusetts to create a medical emergency response plan, to practice emergency response sequences at least once a year in the school setting, to have an AED in every school, and they've done a tremendous amount of fundraising for every school to have one, and to provide access to CPR and first aid in each of the school setting. So my challenge in 2012, I had gone to an educational seminar that talked about that, and when I came into the school setting in September, I said to Craig, we need to practice this. And much to his credit as an administrator, he was very open and receptive to the idea, and that made all of the world of difference for me and for our team. because he's very committed to safety in our building, and he's on the forefront of the ALICE training. So what I needed to do in thinking about how are we going to have this drill, I needed to think about who was going to respond in my school building besides myself. What was the goal of our exercise? What was it going to be? Was it going to be focusing on communication? Was it going to focus on the skill of CPR? How was I going to educate my students and staff in a nursing role that doesn't have access to all of the classrooms at the same time? And to evaluate the effectiveness of the drill. So what I first did was had a meeting with everyone who wasn't connected with a classroom. And that was primarily the administrative staff, the guidance counselors, as well as the school behavioral counselors. And we talked about what our roles were. One thing that really opened my eyes in one of my first drills was I have a mannequin that's brought out. And I was delayed in the response to the emergency drill because there was an accident in the during gym class. And when I came on the scene, I found 8 adults standing around looking at the mannequin waiting for me to show up. And I thought, this can't happen. People need to know that they need to act and they can't wait for nursing. So that has really been the thrust of my education. So if you go back, so in that scene, it just talks about how everyone when they come into a scene, it's me providing care. Someone needs to respond on the floor, and then I follow up. People are assigned to get the AED. People are assigned to call 911. They're assigned to meet the ambulance. So it really is an entire team response to the many roles that go along with an emergency response. What we need to think about is in that 5 minute, those 5 minutes before an ambulance shows up, that's the critical piece where the care needs to be provided. And at the high school, the response rate is 10 to 15 minutes for an ambulance. So that's why staff needs to be involved. So I'm going to show you the short clip. I made a video. That's how I was able to educate the building. So this is just kind of an introduction to everyone. We show this annually to the students and staff.
A medical emergency can happen at any time during any school day, so it's important that we're always prepared. Students are the eyes and ears of this building, and you guys need to realize that we depend on you if something's going wrong out there, whether it's someone who needs help, someone who's entering our building that shouldn't be here, or someone who's doing something wrong. You need to help us keep ourselves, as well as the rest of our community, safe. Today we're going to talk about a medical emergency. You've heard a few code blues throughout the months here. And we're just going to talk about how our building is set up so that it can help you get help during an emergency.
So that was just how we started that. And it talks about the student's role, which would be to go into a classroom and access help. So you can move on. Okay. So since 2012, we've had 5 CPR and AED practice drills. We've had 2 choking drills, and myself, Molly Reed, and Jen Agnesi, who's no longer with the district, we certified over 85 staff in the school district on being CPR certification and being first responders in their buildings. So this is what it looks like in my choking drill. We had this in the cafeteria, and we have I have a choking vest. So a student will come in with a heavy coat, and they actually pretend that they're choking. And then we not only debrief with ourselves, but we debrief with the student community as to what their role would be in getting help in the event someone choked in the cafeteria. And that was debriefing it. And then this is just kind of a picture of our medical emergency drill on the cameras. We lay a mannequin out, and this is someone starting CPR, waiting for the rest of the team to respond. And this is how we debrief it. We go through it, and it's written up among our team what we did right, what we need to improve on and how we're going to revise the team moving forward. So that's done with every time we call an ambulance, as well as every time we have a drill. January 19th to the 22nd, I took it a little bit further this year, and I focused on medical emergencies, cyber safety, building safety, and then hand washing for personal safety. And so we had an entire week, and we had prompts where the students had to respond. They had a writing assignment after participating in some of the activities. So it really was a good week.
And it's worth mentioning that this isn't just our administrative team and adult staff. The entire school participates in this. The students are participating in it. They're watching the videos. They're giving us feedback. You know, where do they think the safety issues are in the building and how we can all work together to kind of make sure that we're working together as a team. So Jackie's done an outstanding job of really tying all these pieces together. And again, fortunately for us, this event that we had, this extremely serious event that we had this year, happened shortly after our Safe School Safety Week, as things would have it, and things worked extremely well. So when we now sit down and debrief, we're able to be really nitpicky about what we're doing, what we could do better, and who else we can call in. And we actually now have our custodians who are on call just in case we need extra people to come in, and we're looking at our staff as well. So it's worked really well. It's been a great experience for us.
It is.
I want to thank Jackie. Questions?
Thank you for putting this into place. I think this is really important, very important. Do we have this in any of the other schools? Or is this the first school to?
So we're the first school that's been doing it for the past 4 years. This year, and I've been working with the nurses and sharing out this information. So I know that McKay and Crocker are working on putting their drills together. It's a little bit different in each of the school settings because you're working with multiple levels of students. So the nurses are doing that to try and make sure in each of the buildings that the drills are being done and that they get their response teams together. Yeah.
I think it's great you're getting the students involved because to me, CPR is so important. Everybody should know it.
It's
Everyone.
true. Yep. Yeah.
Yes.
It's just thank you, because it's just so reassuring to know that the most qualified people are ready to do the toughest job. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks very much. Wait, that deserves an applause.
Next, the English Language Learners Program video screening going on a field trip. Bonnie Bear, see that.
Anything on the guard here?
Had a heart attack.
Okay, it's reading it. So, we were very honored when Andre invited us to screen this video here for the school committee. You have an opportunity here to be the first. This is the first public screening of the video, Let's Go, which is also, with the help of Tim Dowse at FATV, we actually invented a video genre that had not existed before. We're calling it a docu-musical because it's supposed to be a music video.
Why am I not surprised?
Yeah, it's supposed to be a music video, but they're generally a little shorter than this, so we decided it was a docu-musical. And we have many of our actors are here today. Students from Memorial Middle School and the high school were actors in this video, as was Mrs. Obie, one of our brave on-camera adults who were willing to go out there, and Tim Dowse was instrumental. He was really our videographer and editor and all did so much work on this video. You will see scripted video here, and you have a copy of the script. I'm not going to take a lot of time to talk about it. You have a statement of the purpose, the objectives of the project, and I'm happy to answer questions if you have any afterwards. The students here and some of their friends brainstormed ideas of what to include in this video to get the messages around why field trips are important in students' learning. And how students should conduct themselves so that they can get the most out of these opportunities. And they decided what was important to demonstrate. You'll see safety considerations, you'll see appropriate student behavior being demonstrated, and you'll see lots of interesting places that we traveled to over 2 years of Gateway Summer Academy, as well as the process of making this video. We had to go on several location shoots out and around. So without further ado,
Excuse me, can we have, who are the people that were in the video? Can
Oh.
you stand up?
we have Nirka,
Oh, right.
and Rosemary, and Christina, and Jaylyn.
Listen, stick around after the meeting, you know, you may want to have to give out autographs. That Okay, thank you.
Let's go where people to see and places to explore. There's so much to learn outside. Stay close together, don't get separated. If you're lost, you might feel scared. That's not exaggerated. Just you wait there, make a phone call. There are those who help us all. The police can find your group together after all.
Very cute.
We saw the world inside a museum, a city park, and a zoo. We saw a show and our local college too. We wrote down what we saw in the town, so we remember to keep it in our hearts and minds. The what, where, when, why, how, and who. Let's go, there are people to see and places to explore. There's so much to learn outside the classroom door. We know there's a great big world with so much fun in store. So let's go, we're going on a field trip. Let's go, there are people to see and places to explore. There's so much to learn outside the classroom door. We know there's a great big world with so much fun in store. So let's go, we're going on a field trip. We're going on a field trip. We're going on a field trip. Field trip!
So any questions for me or for the group? That was
Blake,
original.
Yeah,
We,
really, that's an excellent tune. Really.
well, the songwriter, actually, there he is. Nope, it's not. I foolishly took this out, so you're not seeing the credits. That
Yeah.
would have been nice. Yeah, the songwriter is a guy I knew through my son in New York. He and my son actually recorded it in a Brooklyn sound studio, but they did this with input from all of these kids who had ideas about what they wanted in this song. So, okay, oh, nope, didn't want to do that. Sorry about that. Once is good. There you go. So,
We're going to be singing it the rest of the
Yeah,
day.
it's a great
I
tune.
do hear that it gets stuck in your head. You'll have an
Yeah.
earworm
Yeah.
now. So, and the kids will get to watch it again. I have a copy for you too, Jalen, so they'll have copies of it. But they gave the ideas of what they wanted in the script. We gave all of their ideas to the songwriter. He put them into his song, and it's history. So we're hoping to use this for not just in the ESL classes to prepare children for field trips. It'll be a jumping off point for discussions about how to take care of yourself when you're traveling around and how to be safe. We would like to point out that Jaylyn, who is a good actress, she pretended to be really scared when she got lost from her group. But that took acting. And our brave on-camera adult would probably like it known that she doesn't lose children when she takes them on field trips.
It only happened once.
just once, but we documented on video, so. So, yeah, that's it. And we had Stacy Cronin, one of the police officers from Fitchburg, was able to help us with our filming, and that made it fun for the kids as well.
Saw somebody looked familiar in there. Were you also part of that, Mr. Doust? Were you part of the video, huh? Did you shoot the video?
Most of it.
Most of it, right? Yeah.
He did, but a lot of the pictures were done by some of the students because in the summer program, Tim teaches a video and photography course. So
Yeah.
whenever we would go out on our little excursions, the kids would have their cameras, and they'd be part of documenting the experience as well. So
You did a great job. Yeah,
Yeah.
really. Nicely done.
So kids, where do you want to go next?
I mean, that was several field trips, right? I mean,
Oh, yes.
at different places. I mean,
two,
it just,
two summers of
Is that what
field
it was?
trips.
Okay,
And
yeah.
we had a grant from the governor's office, Executive Office of Education, that funded the Gateway Summer Academy. That
Yeah.
took us on these adventure trips, which were part of the summer school curriculum. So we just had lots of footage.
Did you guys have fun? Was it fun? Every one of them, right? Yeah, that's great.
What
Good.
were some of your favorites?
The aquarium? Yeah.
Yeah? How about you, Jalen? What was your favorite? The ecotarium. That's good. We'll keep that in mind.
Superintendent.
I think Mr. Bell asked where they wanted to go next, and I would hope it's Sundance, the Sundance Film Festival, right?
Yeah.
They
All
could
right.
be.
Yeah. No, I mean, there probably are competitions where you could enter this. And I think it would be definitely worthwhile.
We'll have to look into that.
Yeah, the
Your own genre.
docu-musical, yeah. And there's less competition when you invent a
That's
particular
right.
category.
And in the musical category
Right.
is.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's really great, really great.
Moving on. Approval of the minutes from the previous school committee meetings.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Motion being made to approve minutes of the meeting, regular school committee meeting, January 25th, 2016. Do I hear a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Approve the minutes of the regular school committee meeting of February 1st, 2016. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion.
Motion made, and do I hear a second? Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. No need for executive session, I don't believe. That's later, okay. New business? No? Unfinished business from previous meetings? No? Communications? Okay. And public comment? Yes.
So I'm sorry it was a little bit last minute. If you want, I can come to the next meeting and I can bring a few of my people who are working with this with me. But I just wanted to come here. I passed out flyers. And for those of you at home, my name is Elizabeth Moyson. And I'm the race director for the 5K for Little Feet, which is basically a charity road race that's run by the students at Fitchburg High School through the National Honor Society. And it's the 6th year, I believe. Every year we put on a road race. This year's date is April 24th. It's a Sunday. And we raise money to buy sneakers to put on the feet of underprivileged children in the Fitchburg Public Schools. Sports have always played a big part in our lives. And so we feel like everyone should have the opportunity to be a part of sports. And you can't run track or do football without a good pair of sneakers. We also help fund the Unified Track Program at Fitchburg High School, which partners special needs students with students without special needs. So every year we'll donate money for equipment or busing costs if they need to go away to a competition. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about our goals for the future. We're expanding this year to include the high school as a recipient of the shoes. In the past, it's always been the elementary and middle schools. So what we do is we go to the nurses of the schools and we say, hey, keep it anonymous, but can you see if there are students in your school who need shoes? Do you want to keep a stockpile of shoes in case someone does need shoes in the future? And then we'll do our best to raise enough money as we can to get you as many shoes as we can. one thing that I personally wanted to do and bring as an expansion of the program was to create a community of health in Fitchburg. I've always loved running. I grew up running in Fitchburg, so it's really important to me that I reach out to all of the other schools and communities in Fitchburg. So we've already created connections with ROTC at Monty Tech. Sue Tarigny, who I believe you guys have seen before here, is starting a program called Girls on the Run, so we're going to partner with them. And then we've also partnered with Fitchburg State University, and they're going to help us get the word out to the college runners there. So I'll come back later at the next meeting, hopefully. But I just wanted to put this in your head as a little bit of a challenge. Whether you want to run, walk, or cheer, we would love to have the community come out and support the race. It's such a fun event. Don't be afraid of running a 5K. It's not as hard as everyone thinks it is. It's 3.1 miles, and I will admit there are hills, but don't let it deter you. So I passed out the flyers, and on the back it has the registration, which you can mail to the high school, or you can go on active.com to do an online registration. And if you pre-register, you get a t-shirt. I'm going to just throw that out there. Incentives. So do you guys have any questions about it? Or hopefully
So how
I'll
many
see
do you
all
get
there.
participating, Elizabeth? How many participate usually in the race itself?
In the past 2 years, we've had 156 runners.
Oh, that's pretty good.
73 in 2014, 83 in 2015. And combines those 2 years, we bought 255 pairs of shoes.
Oh, wow.
Which is a
Oh,
lot.
good. That's great. That's great. Well, you know, we should let the viewing public know that if they want to contribute, and we encourage them to, send it checks payable to Fitchburg High School's Principals Fund. Attention 5K for Little Feet,
That's right.
right? Yeah. So anyone out there, folks, listening up, watching FATV tonight, get out your checkbooks. Any amount is welcome, right?
And it's completely nonprofit, so all of the proceeds go to the Unified Track, buying those shoes, or rolling over to have starter fund for the next year.
That's great. Fitchburg High School's Principals Fund, 5K for Little Feet. Let's donate. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
A question? I'm sorry. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Does somebody give you a discount on the sneakers? Do you pair up with a?
Yes, in the past, we've partnered with Saucony, the shoe company, and they gave us a discounted price. Marathon Sports has offered to do it this year. And then there was another sports shop last year that actually had a couple of shoes lying around that, they didn't make it to the shelves. They were kind of old, but they were completely new.
Yeah.
So they weren't going to be able to sell them, but they were just lying in the back of the shop, so they gave it to us free of charge.
I mean, that's a lot of sneakers. As a retired runner, I understand. I know
Yeah.
how expensive sneakers are, and to get 250 pairs of sneakers is something.
That's great.
And we get them for all ages, from elementary school up to middle school, and this year for the high school.
Thanks for your work. That's great.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
Bye now.
Superintendent's report.
Yep, just to have an announcement. This Wednesday is the Fitchburg School and City Staff Art Show. It's the opening of a show that will run for about a month at the Fitchburg Art Museum. It's from 4 o'clock to 5:30, and there will be refreshments there. And one of the artists is a cake decorator, and she is entering a cake as her artwork, and we will eat the cake. So that's a new form of artwork. It's my kind of artwork. I think it's Mr. Stevens' kind of artwork, too. So it's really exciting. This will be the fourth time that we have this art show since I've been here. We used to have them at the Johnsonia, in that gallery on the first floor. We had them there twice. We had it at the museum once, and this will be our second time at the museum. This is the first time that I've invited the city employees to participate, and we've had a good turnout from them. We'll have over 25 participants in all kinds of media, and probably about 40 or 50 pieces of artwork. So anyone who wants to, it's free admission. It's Wednesday night, 4 to 5:30 at the Fitchburg Art Museum at the Elm Street entrance. Tonight we have two field trips that are coming before you for your approval for them to move forward. These are recurring field trips. The first is the Zealand Falls Hut, Bethlehem, New Hampshire field trip, which is run by Meg Normandin from the high school. And the second field trip is Nature's Classroom, which you've seen many times before, and that is Memorial Middle School. If you have any questions, both of these are repeat field trips.
Just when we go to approve the Nature's Classroom, the date on our agenda isn't the correct date. The date on the request is, but I don't know if that will matter. But it's March 28th to April 1st.
It says March 28th to 16, and here it says April 4th. So thanks for catching that.
What was it again?
March 28th
To April.
Till April 1st.
to April 1.
I only really know because my daughter's going.
Thank you, Dean. We need votes on these, correct?
Yeah, and there are action items further on the agenda. Then you also, another vote tonight, we're bringing the school calendar before you. This is next year's school calendar, FY17. The main thing that people look for is the beginning of school. Classes begin on September 1st for this coming year, and with no snow days, classes will end on June 14th. So as soon as this calendar is approved, we will send it home to parents, and it'll be posted on our website. And then you have donations. There's a donation to South Street of $338.48, and it is it's 2 Android tablets to be used by ESL students. For Donors Choose. It's donorschoose.org. And then at Memorial Middle School, it's $200 donation for students to use with ELA classes also. And while we're at it, there are 2 grants that are being recommended. And the first is the Fuel Up to Play grant for $2,895 and a Biogen grant, which would be for Lego Robotics project at Crocker for $4,949. These are not acceptance, these are recommended, right? Yes. Did what? It says action.
To submit.
To submit, right, recommended, not accepted. Those are my own, and then there's a school choice. Why don't you discuss the school choice?
Just to clarify, on the grant, it is to submit and accept.
Submit and accept, okay.
On school choice, as mentioned earlier, Bonnie Bear CMAC came to the resource subcommittee meeting, and the resource subcommittee approved a $35,000 amount for the ELL director to make investments across our 8 schools in end-user device technology, principally Google Chromebooks. And during the presentation, the subcommittee agreed to provide a little bit of additional money to make sure that Fitchburg High School was adequately outfitted with more technology.
Then you might as well continue on with the 2 facilities
Could I
items.
ask a question, though?
Sure.
So does that mean that Like, are the Chromebooks just in the general availability, or are they really just for like an ELL classroom? Or?
They're targeted toward the ELL students, yeah, because the
Right,
the
but-
Chromebook carts that are used are more Chromebook devices per cart, so they really only need 5 or 10. So it's really allows them to use just a small number.
So, like, an ELL student could take it home with?
No, these are for in-class
None of our
use.
Chromebooks come home, except the ones at the high school that are part of the school within a school.
Okay.
And most of our Chromebooks are in the large classroom containers that are used for general ed, mostly for classrooms. These are in smaller basket-type
Okay.
arrangements of 5, I think it's 5 to a basket.
8.
5 to 8. And Memorial, because Memorial is where we have our preponderance of ELL students.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. At the Resource Subcommittee meeting last Thursday, the subcommittee also agreed to recommend use of about $143,000 of remaining funds underneath a old capital bond to be used to repave the Memorial parking lot here. We've already reached out to the DPW department, who will coordinate with the contractor, and given the low oil prices, we may come in closer to that amount versus the original estimate as provided by the DPW. Also, tonight you have on your agenda the annual statements of interest that we'll be submitting. This year, we're submitting 3 statements of interest to MSBA, one for Crocker Elementary School, which is classified as our priority school submission. We always have to designate a priority school. This year it's Crocker. It was Crocker last year. Also South Street and Goodrich Academy. Goodrich, because of just some compliance issues, we've been submitting that for several years as well. So tonight, the school committee votes on really just submitting the statements of interest. There's no guarantee, there's no commitment by the MSBA that will be accepted into the program. On March 15th, the City Council will be presented these same votes. They'll refer it to their Finance Committee the following week, and then in their first meeting in April, hopefully they'll be approved, and these statements of interest are due to MSBA on April 8th. And then we go into really a waiting period. They're expected to vote on these statements of interest sometime at the end of the calendar year, and we'll know from there what happens next.
What's on those, DESE?
No, MSBA.
MSBA themselves.
MSBA,
Yeah,
separate
yeah.
board of
Okay.
directors, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is a process we've been through a number of times. Those of you who've been on the school committee for a while, we have a great relationship. Bob has a fabulous relationship with MSBA, and I think it's because when we submit stuff, it's really done well. It's done on time. We follow all the timelines. We follow all the rules. And I don't think that's always the case. So when they have a district and someone who works with them that does that, I think it helps us in the long run, because we've been able to do a lot of work here in Fitchburg, based on the funding from MSBA.
So we require a vote on these, do we not?
Yes.
Yep, and then the last piece
Well, the
is
policy,
just the
security
policy item,
cameras.
and
Yep.
that's the security camera policy. The rest is now just all votes.
Okay. All right. Action items, section 11. Number 15-657, approve the superintendent recommends to allow Fitchburg High School students to plan a trip to Zealand Falls Hut,
Motion.
Bethlehem, New Hampshire.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Next, 15-658, superintendent recommends to allow Memorial Middle School, 5th grade middle school students to participate in Nature's Classroom, Charlton, Mass. Motion made, second.
Second.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It's unanimous. 15-659, approve the superintendent recommends to accept the school calendar 2016 to 2017. Motion made, seconded. All in favor? All opposed? Unanimous. 15-660, approve the superintendent's recommendation to accept a donation of 2 Android tablets, estimated value $338.48, the purpose to be used with ESL students.
Motion to accept.
Motion made
Second.
and seconded. All in favor? All opposed? Is unanimous. Approve the 15-661, approve the superintendent's recommendation to accept the donation of Dell laptop, estimated value $200. The purpose to be used with ESL students from Sue Adams. Motion?
Motion.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It is unanimous. 15-662, approve the superintendent recommendation to submit and accept the following grant titled Fuel Up to Play 60 Grant, $2,895, and Biogen Grant, $4,949. Motion.
Motion to admit.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. All in favor? All opposed? It is unanimous. 15-663, support the superintendent recommendation to invest up to $35,000 of school choice funds for the purposes of purchasing end-user devices, Chromebook and associated peripherals. Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Motion made.
Second.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It is unanimous. 15-664, approve the superintendent recommendation to allocate $143,152 in remaining bond funds for capital purposes for the repaving of the Memorial Middle School staff parking lot located on Causeway Street. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion.
Motion made, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Yes.
Is it possible to take the next three as one?
As one, please. 15-665, 15-666, and 15-667.
Make a motion to submit.
Motion, do I hear motion made, seconded to approve those superintendent recommendations? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It is unanimous. Okay. Next, 15-668, approve the superintendent recommendation to approve the first reading of the security cameras in school policy, number 5717.
Motion.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It is unanimous. 15-669, approve the superintendent's recommendation to accept warrant number WG16036 in the amount of $1,017,817, whatever.
Motion to pay the
Motion
bill.
made. Yeah, let's pay the bill.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It is unanimous.
I'd like to make a motion that we go into executive session for the purpose of negotiations and only to return for adjournment.
All right.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, we need to take a, right. Ms. Escobedo Bedola?
Roll call.
Yes.
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 We stand adjourned only to reconvene for the purposes of adjournment.